Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm doing something a little bit different. I've decided to purchase a new computer for myself, for my work most specifically and for gaming, and I used the shop local to South Africa called Evetech, and I've had a lot of people ask me about their quality, about their service, about their warranties. There's been a lot of questions about that, and so I thought I would use them for this build and purchase this computer from them. And yeah, let's together take a look at the computer that they have pre-assembled for me here, and see what the quality is like, if there's any issues, what the thermals are like, what the power is like, and just yeah, just the overall quality of how they did it. So to give you a quick run through of the computer itself, this is the Deepcool CC560 computer case. It's a bit of a mid-spec case. It's got a ventilated front there. It comes with 3 pre-installed fans at the front, 1 at the back, and this case specifically is meant to be the RGB version of this chassis. So you get the normal one with the blue lights, and then you get the RGB one. And then as for the rest of the case, chassis and fans are Deepcool. For the power supply, I've decided to go with the hybrid Deepcool. I don't remember the code name exactly, but it's an 850 watt modular power supply, and it's a hybrid Deepcool power supply. If you can take a look at the AIO in here, it's a Deepcool AIO. It has a little bit of a mirror effect. It's got 2 fan radiator at the top here. It's very nice looking, and I think when we switch it on, you can see the yeah, just the general aesthetic of it, and a very shiny panel here. You can see the camera in it, and my old computer over there. So apart from that, for the motherboard, I went with a AM4 Tough Gaming motherboard. Quite a nice motherboard, comes with Wi-Fi and everything like that. And then as for the CPU, the 5700X is in this. As for the RAM, we have 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RAM RGB, and then as for the graphics card, I went with the MSI Ventus, I think it's the Ventus 2X 3070 8GB version. So quite a strong graphics card in there, and for me this is a big upgrade. I think it's going to work well. Lastly here, I also ordered an SSD, 1TB Samsung Evo SSD. So yeah, overall quite a nice build, verging on high end, and yeah, I'm excited to take a look at it. Before we do that though, I want to talk about the first thing, and that is packaging. So I'm not crazy about how the packaging came. They used a courier company obviously to deliver everything, and then what you get is the box, of course. So everything came in this box. Well, the computer came pre-assembled in this box, and then they strapped flatbed packed other boxes. So all of the boxes of like not the motherboard, because that one was intact, but like this, the CPU box, the AIO box, stuff like that, power supply box. They actually disassembled the boxes, and then they just like sort of put them here and then just taped around everything, which I'm not a big fan of, because I like to have the boxes to keep them safe if I ever need to trade anything or change anything. And so this is what it came as. So this, for instance, is the AIO box. So they just kind of disassembled it, and and then they would also give you the face, which is then like this. So you see what I mean? So they kind of disassembled it, and just to make the storage for the courier facility smaller. And I get that, because that saves money. It makes it easier to transport, and it makes it one big box instead of a huge box with a lot of little boxes in it. But to be honest, I would have preferred if they just gave me all the boxes as they were. Maybe that's just a personal thing, but that's just how I feel, so I'm going to dock them a point for that. And then obviously, because it's pre-assembled, things like the graphics card box have nothing in them. It's just a box. But the one that contains everything of note, like accessories, is actually the Tough Gaming motherboard box, sorry. And the motherboard is the B550 Plus Tough Gaming. I'll put the specs up somewhere in the video so that you can see them when I talk about it. So again, they did the same thing with the CPU box. They put it in here. The SSD is small enough, so they just kept it. The RAM, same thing, small enough, so they just kept it. And then you just get all of the extras, right? So you get your power cables, the modular extensions here. So it's just all of the extras that they kind of just threw in here. Some extra SATA cables for hard drives or whatever. Horizon sticker. Yeah, just stuff like that. The Wi-Fi antenna. So yeah, that's fine. Didn't expect them to do anything else with that. But overall, for the packaging, not too good. I'm not super happy with the way they did it, but I do understand that they need to save money, and makes it easier to ship that way, so I get it. But for me, I'm going to dock them a point for that. So now that that's done, let's get into the review of the build itself, and yeah, let's see how they did. Let's do it. Alright, so here is the inside of the build with the glass removed, so you can see it a little better. And they did a fantastic job. I mean, if you look at the cable management, everything looks nice and neat. The AIO looks good. Everything is tucked to the back very well. So it's a fantastic job at the front. I think I have to commend them for that. No cables are hanging out. You have the little AIO controller there, so if you want to change colors and stuff like that. Everything is tucked into the basement here very nicely, and yeah, just overall I think it looks really nice. I have to give them props, so I'm probably going to give them a good grade on that specifically. And yeah, I don't see any issues. I don't see any cabling issues or any just neat issues. Everything just looks good. Like everything is put in nicely, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to power it on, and let's see what it looks like with the lights and everything. Is that it? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's a little bit bright in the camera there, but that's what it looks like with everything on. And yeah, it looks really nice. I'll take some close-up shots later on with glass on and everything, so it won't be so glary. It's a little bit yeah, it's a little bit difficult to see right now, but AIO is looking really nice, RAM is looking really nice. You've got the fan at the back here, and I can feel it in my face. It's blowing quite hard, and it's not loud at all. I can hear it, but it's not loud at all. Like it's quite soft. The GPU fans are probably standing still right now, and yeah, and then you got the fans at the front there. You've also got the AIO fans at the top there, which are just right now just RGB, but I know the camera isn't picking it up very well. So yeah, good job with this. There's one small issue that I'm noticing that I hope isn't an issue, but I see that these fans are set to blue right now, and that is the stock configuration of the non-RGB version of this case, and so I hope that they actually gave me the RGB version of the case. I'm going to open it up at the back and we'll take a look at the cable management, and then we can figure out if they gave me the correct one. So yeah, let's do that. This looks really good, so I'm going to give them a good grade for this. Alright, so here you have the back with the panel removed, and I must say it looks fantastic. They seem to have done a really good job. If you look at the cabling here, everything is run down very nicely, very neatly, tucked into the basement here quite well, and not too many loose cables. You've got the little fan controller here and over here as well, and everything seems to be plugged in very nicely. So yeah, everything is very well routed, and it looks really good. So have to give them a lot of credit for the job they did on the cable management here, because it looks fantastic. It's one of the best cable management jobs I've actually seen, and so for that they will get a really good grade from me. Yeah, apart from that, I have to disassemble this quickly and see if they gave me the right version of the case, and that'll have a bearing on the grade as well. So I'm going to disassemble this, and then I will let you know if they actually gave me the right one. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so I've taken apart the cable management, so to say, and yeah, just checked out everything, and unfortunately it seems like they have given me the wrong chassis, the wrong case. So like I said, this case comes in two versions, the CC560 and then the CC560 RGB, and they seem to have given me the non-RGB version, which just has the blue lights, and you can see here with the little fan header that I have here, it's only a 3-pin, I don't know how well you can see it, but that's one of these ones, and they're all the same with the one at the back, and so it's only a 3-pin there. Hopefully you can see that okay, and obviously for RGB you need the 4-pin. And then looking at this little extension that it has here, so this is nice because they can chain together, they can actually link together, which is nice, but unfortunately it's non-RGB, it's just that blue light. So yeah, I'm gonna have to contact them about that and see what we can do about that. So it might be a good opportunity for me to see what their customer support is like, but for that I'm gonna have to dock them a few points there. And yeah, also as good as the cable management job was that they did way over tighten the cable ties, and so a lot of the cables got hurt just because of how tight those cable ties were, and that's an issue as well, because you don't want a new computer and then you have damage on the cables. That's unfortunate as well, and I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it up, but on that little heat shield there, there's also a few scratches. Don't know how that happened, maybe they dropped something on it or whatever, but yeah, so a little bit of damage, which isn't too good to see, but other than that, pretty good job. Let's put everything back together and then move on to a little bit of testing just to see how it holds up when running a benchmark. I'm not going to do like a full benchmark suite now, I'll do that later on with the computer. but I just wanted to do a quick benchmark, see how the temperatures hold up, and if everything is built correctly, it should have no issue. And after that, we can wrap it up real quick. So yeah, stay with me. Let's move on to that. Okay, so let's take a look at the setup here. So the computer is on there, running, everything's nice. Everything's fine there. So yeah, I just wanted to take a look at the actual install that they did and what they include, you know, what they don't include. Let's see if there's any, like, what do you call it, like, you know, like unwanted applications, things like antivirus softwares, or you know, any suites of any kind. We don't want anything like that. So let's see what they installed, and yeah, let's see how much bloatware is on the thing, basically. So looking at the OS here, they gave a little logo here for Evetech, a little background. That's fine. I don't know if anyone's going to actually run that, but it looks okay. And then in terms of actual installs, Microsoft Edge, GeForce Experience, so they did put some form of drivers on here, and they seem to have done a stability test. So let's open that up. So opening that up just seems to be IDA 64 stability test. So they stressed the CPU. I'm not sure about it seems to just be the CPU and the hard drive. So it seems like they stressed those on this. So that's fine. Seems to have undergone a stress test. Let's see if the computer picks up everything okay. CPU, AMD Ryzen 5700X 8 core. Memory 32 gigs, 2200 megahertz, so that's running at 4000 megahertz. SSD Samsung 970 Evo Plus 1 terabyte, and GPU NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070. So seems like everything is picking up okay. That seems fine, no issues there. In terms of installs, DTS custom seems to be some sort of audio interface for the motherboard, because it says Tough Gaming there. Realtek audio console, so that's another audio thing there, and then it's just an image of the stability test and some other file that isn't here anymore, and the NVIDIA control panel. Let's see which version of the drivers they actually added. Version 512.77. I don't remember exactly, but that seems quite recent. Okay, that's pretty good. Nothing too major there. No unwanted bloatware or antivirus or anything like that. So you have to give them props for that. Just a clean install. Windows obviously isn't activated because I didn't want them to activate Windows for me. I'm not going to use this drive for my Windows drive. So yeah, good job here. I'm going to run a benchmark real quick, and then let's see how it actually does. I just put some games on here, so I'm just going to run one of these pretty quickly. Alright, just running the Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark quickly. This is everything set to maximum, getting around 200 FPS right now, which is amazing. No computer that I've owned has ever been this good, so pretty excited. 180 FPS, so it seems to fluctuate between like 170 and 200 for the most part. This is everything set to maximum, running at HD though. So yeah, pretty good result. Let's let it run for a little bit and see what the computer does. Let's see what the heat is like, and yeah, doesn't feel bad. I don't know what the heat is at the moment. We'll quickly check afterwards, after the benchmark is done. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Quite a nice game to look at as well. Getting around 180 FPS still. seems to be targeting that kind of range. Yeah, my main display is a 144 Hz display, so this is gonna work really well for that. My display is only HD, so but I feel like even at 2K, the 3070 could run most games at like 144 Hz. I mean FPS, so that's quite good. Also, the first time I've ever owned an AIO actually, and I think it looks really nice. This AIO has like a shadow effect where it's like a glass effect, so it's like a mirror. You can't really see it from this angle, but if you look at it from like an angle like this, then it looks like it's like many versions of the thing. I think they just have a few mirrors in there. FPS now at around 220. The scene is quite easy to run because it's just a bunch of LODs. It gets tougher when you go into the town with the humanoids being rendered and everything. But yeah, it's doing really well so far. It's at 110 FPS right now, which is the lowest it's been. But this part of the scene always drops quite low. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, when I do the proper benchmark of the computer, I'll install MSI Afterburner and everything. This is just a quick impromptu test. But yeah, pretty good result. Let's quickly see what the heat of the GPU is at. I don't feel a lot of heat back here. I don't actually feel any. So I'm gonna say it's like at around like under 60 maybe. But yeah, let's check that quickly. I'm just gonna quit this quickly. It's at 52 degrees, so yeah, wow, really good result there. Looks like the thermal management on this graphics card is going to be quite good. So yeah, nice. Okay, I guess let me give my final thoughts on the computer. So in terms of the build quality, in terms of the build itself, I think they did an excellent job. They did an excellent job of cable management. Probably the best job I've seen, but like I said, there was a little bit of damage on some of the cables because they cable managed it too tight. The cable ties were too tight. There was a little bit of damage on the little shield there at the one end of the motherboard, so that's an issue. Apart from that, everything looked nice. Nothing to complain about there. And then you talk about packaging materials and packaging. I'm not too happy with that. I don't feel like they did the best job there. They didn't give all of the accessories that should have come with it, and some boxes were pretty much destroyed, so I can't really put those away. Apart from that, they did give me the wrong case. I'm going to follow up about what happens when I talk to the customer support. It's the right case, but it's the wrong version of it, so it might just be an honest mistake, so I'm not going to judge them too harshly on that for now. Let's wait and see what happens when I actually contact them about it. But I'm pretty happy with the build. I think it looks really good. I'm excited to start using it, and I'm going to start porting all of my work over now. So if I had to give this a grade, using just a standard grading system, D, C, B, A plus, whatever, I think I'm gonna give them a B, but it's just a B. I wanted to give them a C plus, but I feel like they did a good enough job on it that I could give it a B. So that's good. The install was good, no bloatware. So yeah, everything taken into consideration. I think a B is fair. They have a few improvements to make with their builds if they want to bump that up to an A in the future, because my rating system means so much to them. But yeah, not a bad job, not an excellent job. but better than middle of the road. So I would recommend them. I think regardless of what happens with the case later on, I feel like they did a good enough job. Their prices were competitive. I paid 27,500 Rand for this, which is just under $2,000. So I feel that the prices are competitive. That might sound expensive, but in South Africa the prices are a little bit higher than what they are in the United States. I guess just because of shipping and taxes and everything. So yeah, competitive prices. I shopped around at a bunch of stores when buying this, and Evetech came out on top by a few thousand Rand each time. So yeah, definitely would recommend them. B rating for me. And yeah, if you were wondering about whether you should build a computer with them, I would say go for it. They did a really good job. So that's it for this one. Like and subscribe, follow me for more, and in the future I'm gonna take a deeper look at the computer and do some benchmarks on it, so stay tuned for that. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.